Jesus visited the region of Tyre to rest a while. A Syro-Phoenician woman, a Gentile, heard of his presence there and found him, and then begged Jesus to expel a demon from her daughter. Jesus replied with a startling insult, saying, "It is not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs." In saying this, Jesus was meant that his mission was to the Jews, not to the Gentiles. The woman replied, with a dignity of her own, "But Lord, even the dogs under the table eat the scraps that the children drop on the floor." In that moment of encounter with the woman's voice, Jesus' view was widened, and healing and wholeness came to the woman's daughter.
Early in his papacy, Pope Francis showed a concern for Christians moving away from the center and towards the periphery. He said, "We must get out of ourselves. We must avoid the spiritual disease of the church that can become self-referential. When this happens, the church itself becomes sick." All of us are called forth from our own comfort zone in order to reach all the peripheries in need of the light of the gospel. I am convinced of one thing. The great changes in history were realized when reality was seen not from the center, but rather from the periphery. To truly understand reality, we need to move away from the central position of calmness and peacefulness. To understand, we ought to move around, to see reality from various viewpoints. This is really very important to me, the need to become acquainted with reality by experience, in order to really become acquainted with the reality and life experiences of the people. It is the most concrete way of imitating Jesus. Jesus went to all, really all. You should not feel uncomfortable in reaching out to anyone.
Hearing the call by Pope Francis to go outside their comfort zone and to include new voices, the Social Concerns Committee of St. Mary's Parish looked to the experience of those whose lives they thought far from their own Catholic heritage. Seeing the convergence of people on Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of Michael Brown and the emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement, they decided to try to include new voices of the Black community in their church circle. Michael brought to the group the possibility of learning about the history of Black people in the Catholic Church as a start. To their surprise, they learned that the story of the first African convert was recounted in the Acts of the Apostles. The new voices they were expecting to include were part of the church before a European voice. The group decided to look at the history of Catholics of African descent in the United States and discovered that African Americans were denied access to seminaries and convents, the women founding their own orders so that they could follow their calling. The Social Concerns Committee discovered that the voice has always been there. They just had not paid attention and unconsciously fostered their white privilege in the church.